It seems the Scottish National Party has discovered a fascinating new branch of mathematics where most seats magically equals democratic mandate. Revolutionary stuff. Truly. John Swinney, bless his optimistic heart, has proposed that winning the most seats in the 2026 Holyrood election would give the SNP a mandate for an independence referendum. Because apparently, when you're desperate enough, basic arithmetic becomes more of a suggestion than a rule. Let's unpack this masterpiece of wishful thinking, shall we? Swinney's brilliant plan hinges on the radical concept that having more seats than anyone else, even if that's, say, 30% of the total, somehow represents the will of the Scottish people. It's rather like claiming you've won a football match because you had possession for 35 minutes, conveniently ignoring that the other team scored more goals. But why let pesky details like actual majority support get in the way of a good independence dream? Now here's where it gets properly entertaining. The SNP's 43 regional branches are having what can only be described as a collective wobble over this proposal. Because apparently, even within the independence movement, there are those who recognize that Swinney's maths might be a tad creative. A rival proposal has emerged suggesting they should count all pro-independence parties together. The SNP, the Greens, and Alba. Yes, Alba. That's right, they're including Alex Salmond's outfit in their calculations, which is rather like including your local village cricket team in Premier League statistics. The delicious irony here is that this rival proposal could actually defeat Swinney's motion at their upcoming conference in Aberdeen. And yes, they are indeed returning to Aberdeen again, presumably because it's become the only Scottish city willing to host what's essentially becoming a very expensive therapy session for political denial. Picture this: the leader of Scotland's Independence Party potentially having his independence motion voted down by his own independent supporting members. It's political performance art at its finest. Swinney, who's already about as popular as a Rangers fan at a Celtic match, would find himself in the rather awkward position of being too moderate for his own party's independence obsession. The man who's supposed to be leading Scotland to freedom can't even lead his own party to agree on how to define basic democratic legitimacy. The rival motion, with all the grandiosity the SNP can muster, states that they need a majority of the popular vote on the sum of independent supporting parties. Bless them, they genuinely believe this is achievable. It's like watching someone plan their lottery win while the numbers are still being drawn. The harsh reality, and one suspects even they know this deep down, is that more Scots will vote against independence parties than for them. But why let reality intrude on a perfectly good political fantasy? Even if, by some miracle involving mass amnesia across Scotland, they did achieve this mythical mandate, Sir Keir Starmer would laugh them out of Downing Street faster than you can say Section 30 order. The Labour government has about as much interest in facilitating Scottish independence as Scotland has in hosting the Eurovision Song Contest again. Meanwhile, the Scottish Conservatives' Rachel Hamilton has pointed out what should be blindingly obvious. While Scotland's public services crumble and taxes soar, the SNP's leadership is having heated debates about the best way to pursue their impossible dream. It's rather like arguing over the best route to Atlantis while your house is on fire. The truly tragic comedy here is that Swinney, despite being spectacularly ineffective at actually governing Scotland, might be even worse at achieving independence. Perhaps the kindest thing would be to let him continue this Sisyphean task indefinitely, at least while his obsessing over unattainable referendums is doing less damage to Scotland's day-to-day governance. So there we have it, Scotland's independence movement, tearing itself apart over whether to use fantasy maths or slightly more ambitious fantasy maths to justify their next inevitable failure. It's democracy in action, Scottish nationalist style, where the only thing more divided than their party is their grip on political reality. Watch the video, and before you start, if you haven't yet, hit like, subscribe, and click the bell icon to stay updated and drop your thoughts below. Let's hold the government accountable.